Welcome back. We've heard falling in love is easy, but staying in love can be a little tough. So how do we do that? Well, we express love effectively. Counselor Dr. Bill Baker is here to help with that issue, and I'm sure we could talk about this all day.
Definitely,
all day
Marissa.
long, but you're going to at least get us started there with talking about communication and how important that is with love languages.
Well, thank you. Marissa, the term love language was popularized by Dr. Gary Chapman back in 1992 when he published the first edition of this book called The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts. As a result of his experience as a marriage counselor, he concluded that spouses tend to communicate or convey emotional love to each other through 5 basic patterns, which he called languages. If both spouses understand and speak the same language, they both tend to feel loved. However, if one speaks a different language than the other one, then they tend to feel unloved and misunderstood. So it's very helpful for us to understand the 5 love languages and know how to relate those in a marriage relationship, but also to any human relationship.
Well, what are the 5?
The 5 love languages that Dr. Chapman suggests are these. One is what he called words of affirmation. We verbally say things like, I love you, you're important to me, and we compliment and we say words of appreciation. Second one is quality time.
That's a big one.
Oh, spending time together in meaningful activities. Doing acts of service, doing things that your spouse would want you to do. It could be things like chores and household projects, but specific acts that mean a lot. Physical touch is another avenue or language of love, whether it's sexual or non-sexual physical affection. And then receiving and giving gifts.
How timely.
With Christmas coming
Yeah.
up. Well, gifts are visual symbols of love, whether they're purchased, found, or bought. Now, Dr. Chapman says that most of us tend to speak more than one language. However, there tends to be a dominant love language, and you can see how that would figure into any human relationship, particularly marriage. So if we understand more about how that works, then each person is going to feel more loved and appreciated in the relationship.
Well, Dr. Baker, how do we find our own, I guess, dominant love language?
Good question. Perhaps the best way is to go on Dr. Chapman's website at 5lovelanguages.com and complete what he calls a love language profile. And that will give you a good answer as to which of these 5 would be your dominant or second dominant language. In addition to that, we can ask some important questions, such as, what are the things that your spouse does or fails to do to you that hurts you the most? The answer to that question can indicate what your love language might be. Or think about all the requests that you've made of your spouse in terms of what you want your spouse to do to you or for you. The answer to that can indicate your love language. And then think about all the ways that you have tried in the past to communicate love to your spouse. Then that suggests a pattern, and that could reflect your primary love language.
But the first thing is to jot those things down, quiz yourself or what have you, and have those conversations with your partner to figure it all out. Thank you so much, Dr. Baker, for coming in today.
Always glad to be here.
All